was way too late. The fact that she made the decision in the first place already shows what the direction they'll be going. I'm a bird, I'm a bird! Annapurna Interactive Studio speaks out. Former employees reveal the truth about mass quitting. I was waiting for this for a week.
I kind of been waiting on this crap too.
Like, I knew there has to be something more to the story than what was actually like revealed so far.
There always is.
Yeah, it's in no reality, a whole team just stands up randomly and leaves out of nowhere.
Remember my last video on Annapurna, which is the studio that published Stray. One of the honestly, I thought Stray was an awesome game, and I'll keep saying it. I know some people didn't like Stray. That's perfectly fine.
Wait, what do you not like about a Stray? You're literally playing a cat navigating the world of robots. Like,
you can do cat things. The best game ever. You want to knock something off the table, you do it.
I don't trust people who don't like Stray.
Me personally, I love Stray. I thought it was great. Thought it was different. I like the setting. I like the world. Like the graphics, all that stuff. It was awesome, in my opinion. Not the best game of the year, but it was pretty damn good. But Annapurna Interactive, the entire studio walked out. Okay, and that's not an understatement. I'm not being facetious. Nothing. The entire studio literally walked out on the CEO of the owner, whatever. And it was a big deal. It was a big story. And one of the questions people had was, why did this happen? We had a lot of assumptions, we had a lot of rumors and whatnot, but apparently we have more information that has come out as to why the entire studio decided to walk out and essentially fire themselves from Annapurna Interactive. Who's retarded now? Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, damn, bro.
Now, we have an article here from IGN with a headline that reads, Inside Annapurna Interactive's Mass Walkout, Internal Politics, the Surprise Remedy Deal, and Why It All Happened. The entire staff of one of gaming's most beloved publishers walked off the job in early September. But why? So let's get to this article, guys, from IGN. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. And
I'm just surprised he's reading an IGN article.
I am too.
Like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. So it says, last week, Bloomberg reported that 25 people comprising the entire staff of Annapurna Interactive walked out the door in a group resignation. But while some of the circumstances around the departure emerged in the reporting, one pressing question was left unanswered. Why did it all happen? Having spoken to multiple individuals close to the situation, who of course requested anonymity due to the fear of reprisal, as well as an Annapurna spokesperson, I want you guys to realize something, man. It is wild. It is wild. Just the entire, like the way the entire gaming industry is, that it is literally like a damn mafia at this point, right? If you speak out against the mafia, they're gonna come for you. And it's crazy how many people are speaking out now more than ever in anonymity because of the fact that this is a mafia, right? The gaming industry as a
well, it's nothing new. It has been done so long, for so many years in Hollywood and every entertainment business. If you speak up, you're basically blacklisted. This is absolutely nothing new.
The whole is run by people who are all for the toxic positivity nonsense, because you cannot speak out against them. You cannot say anything bad against them. God forbid you're talking about a trans person. You can't say a damn thing about them. Otherwise, the mafia comes for you. They ruin your life. They ruin your job. They ruin your career. And it's unfortunate, because there's people out there that genuinely want to be in the gaming industry because they love video games, and they can't even do it without selling their souls to the devil. But anyway, as well as an Annapurna spokesperson, IGN has pieced together a somewhat complex answer. Disagreements over the direction of the interactive division, chaotic departures, communication breakdowns, and a perceived lack of leadership transparency at Annapurna led to a staff walkout that has left 25 individuals jobless, Annapurna leaders scrambling, and numerous developers concerned about their contracts with the publishers. So let's get into a little bit of a history about Annapurna, because this, I think, really paints a picture over the entire situation, because you're going to realize the company is ran by this person, Ellison, right? So Ellison is the daughter of multi-billionaire Larry Ellison.
So basically, for this person, money grows on trees. So my assumption is that she treats it that way as well.
And this is a huge deal, because Larry Ellison essentially bailed out his daughter from her massive failure of the company's actual picture division, right? So like the one that actually does I guess like movies and TV shows, I suppose. It says the film side of Annapurna's business has undergone well-publicized struggles. In 2018, it was bleeding enough money to prompt Ellison's father, multi-billionaire Larry Ellison, to step in. By 2019, Annapurna Pictures was reportedly teetering on bankruptcy, and in the ensuing years, its film and TV output slowed significantly. Variety reports that Ellison disappeared from public life in 2019 almost entirely, leaving her business to largely run itself during the height of the pandemic. She reemerged in 2021 only to name Gary president over all of Annapurna, with Mars and Vela stepping into co-head roles at the interactive division. I mean, it's insane that this person was able to essentially disappear from the public eye just because of what, the coup? Like, they just completely left the fucking internet and left the world and let the company run into the ground. But again, this is what the problem with a lot of people who are born into money. They don't actually have a fundamental understanding of how to make the money and how to make the money grow. They're born into the money. They have a silver spoon in their...
Oh, to be fair, in my experience, even kids who were born into money, I've seen good parents who still make their kids go and force them to live independently so they understand how the world even works.
And those are the good parents that have generational money, not whatever they have.
No, I've seen people who had generational money make their kids go and live independently just to understand how it all works. And I've seen families with quote-unquote new money who did the same thing. I would say people who have the new money do it more often than generational wealth.
Their mouth. So when they're given these things and daddy is going to save the day no matter what, it doesn't teach them life hard lessons that they need to learn in order to run a successful company, whether in the future or whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, if this company failed and died, at least they will learn their lesson. So the next time they try to do something, they know not to repeat those mistakes. But since daddy came in and saved the day, this person is never going to learn a damn thing. So then in the ensuing years, Annapurna Interactive continued to grow, releasing financial and critical successes such as Stray, Outer Wilds, What Remains of Edith Finch, and Cocoon. While the company claims that Annapurna Pictures side of the business hasn't struggled in recent years, saying that film and TV were more profitable than Annapurna Interactive in 23, a spokesperson alleged to IGN that Gary was a less than ideal steward of Annapurna Pictures. Under his guidance, they claim resources were pulled away from film and TV, key executives were pushed out, and the company was largely refocused on gaming. Annapurna tells IGN that Gary also elevated co-founder James Massey to chief administrative officer, a role the spokesperson suggested was unnecessary at a company of Annapurna's size. Notably, Annapurna did launch an animation division under Gary's tenure that released the critically acclaimed film Nimona just last year, though an Annapurna spokesperson reached out to IGN post-publication with the assertion that it was Ellison who brought in Nimona as the foundation for what will become the animation division. IGN has reached out to Gary, but he declined to comment. Well, of course, I'm not going to want to say anything. At this point, I think it's all water under the bridge, because now we can figure out why this all happened, but at the end of the day, the company's duped, right? Everybody has quit. They're scrambling to try to rebuild the company now and maintain the contracts that they have with certain companies. It is not looking good. Anyway, let's continue. So it says this was a state of things at the start of 24. According to our sources, prior to March of this year, work at Annapurna Interactive was business as usual. They say until employees were suddenly informed mid-month that James Massey had been unexpectedly let go. An Annapurna spokesperson confirmed Massey was made redundant, saying that Ellison had chosen to step back in at the company and oversee the Annapurna Picture side in an effort to reinvest in the film and TV side of the business. As part of this, Annapurna claims that Ellison reinstalled Gary as head of Interactive and deemed Massey's role unnecessary. Oh, so when...
Is that what made the whole dominoes effect of all of them leaving?
Probably, because they're like, oh, that person got replaced. I'm out.
She wanted to come back. When she decided to want to come back and say, okay, I'm ready to play, I'm ready to play owner again, they just kicked this guy out. They're like, all right, you're no longer necessary, get out. That's probably going to piss off a lot of people who were working under them.
Yeah, that's, even as a bystander who has nothing to do with this, that's pissing me off, because I've seen a lot of companies do that. Where they literally, the person who's getting all the work done, they bring in someone on the team because of nepotism and make the other person redundant who was the one doing the work. And what happens? The company just collapses, crashes.
That guy. And obviously, it shows a little bit of a bad leadership situation going on. However, at this time, Gary had also left the company. Annapurna claims he had left of his own accord in response to Massey's firing and his change in role. But sources say employees were told in the following days by leadership within Annapurna Interactive that Gary had been fired along with Massey. The belief that two of their leaders had been fired seemingly out of the blue sparked confusion and fury, and a handful of individuals quit in protest, including at least one other interactive leader. Yeah, so that's basically what I was saying. So she came back and she fired the people that ran the company for her while she was, I don't know, sleeping during the coup. Like, she came back and decided to get rid of the two people who were running the company for her in her absence. I would say that's going to piss off quite a lot of people who were working under those two people while she was gone doing whatever the fuck she was doing as a multi-billionaire daughter. The sudden resignation of multiple key individuals came as a shock to the company, and IGN understands that Ellison held a video call with Annapurna employees to discuss what had happened and find a way to move forward. On the call, Ellison allegedly expressed a desire to keep the entire group, including those who had been fired or resigned, together. In the following days, all the departed staff returned, including Gary and Massey, and discussions began for a potential spin-off of the company that would allow Gary and Ellison to achieve their respective visions with minimal disruptions to partner developers. Okay, so this is where we were at before, where the walkout apparently was because they wanted to separate the interactive from the picture segment, right? They wanted to be...
Which, honestly, it's genuinely is understandable wanting to have these two divisions separately. Since Ellison, she's only interested in the pictures, in the movies, but Gary and, what's his name? Massey, they were interested in the game division. So, that way, whatever she messes up, it's not going to be a fallback on them why Annapurna is not working out and is not being profitable. Because then they could be able to showcase that the game division is accomplishing stuff. It's the TV and the film division that is not accomplishing stuff. It's not even a matter of showing credential. It's a matter that when the TV/movie like side goes down because they're spending more than they're bringing in, the cuts will be happening there instead of the gaming division.
Two different companies. They wanted gaming to be separate from the TV shows and movies, which I totally get that, right? The vision for one cannot match the vision for the other. That's damn near impossible. They are completely different entertainment mediums, so I understand that. But that would also be taking money out of Ellison's pocket, and let's be real, that's not what she wants to do. Otherwise, she wouldn't have fired Gary and Massey in the first place. All she's doing is trying to hire them back because she's trying to quell the storm. It didn't work, obviously, because everybody...
No, it's her attempt at saving face. It was way too late. The fact that she made the decision in the first place already shows what the direction they'll be going.
They left and quit, but that's what she's trying to do. She's trying to quell the storm. Roughly, the plan was for Gary and Annapurna Interactive staff to become a new company called Verset, with ownership split between Annapurna and Verset's leaders. Verset would oversee all currently existing signed Annapurna Interactive projects, with revenue split between itself and Annapurna proper in Annapurna's favor. It would also be free to sign its own independent deals. Developers IGN spoke to report being made aware the spinoff was happening in the following months and were reassured their contracts will be fulfilled. While employees understood such a venture would take time to get off the ground, in the ensuing months, a number of events occurred that made some skeptical of Ellison's commitment to parting with Annapurna Interactive. In early summer, sources tell us that employees discovered Hector Sanchez had been quietly rehired back at Annapurna by Ellison and was working on gaming projects without the knowledge of the rest of the interactive staff.
Wow.
The news wasn't made official until August that Sanchez had been appointed president of Interactive and New Media at Annapurna, a title that seemed to some as potentially at odds with Vila and Mars's roles at Interactive. There's a lot of fuckery going on.
This is what I mean. She just showcasing that people are redundant and not appreciated there. Why would a team want to remain there?
This is really bad leadership, and it shows, right? This is really, really bad leadership, bad ownership from Ellison And again, I'm not shocked because people that are normally born into money like this are just absolutely fucking terrible. I've seen it with my own eyes in real life. And sure, there are some outliers that are not like that, but ultimately, this usually does go down like this. Then it says Annapurna, for its part, claims that talks between Ellison and Sanchez began as far back as February. For Ellison to fund a new venture Sanchez was planning on after departing Epic Games. As talks continued, Annapurna says Sanchez began negotiating with Remedy Entertainment for a deal related to film and TV spin-offs of its properties. However, when spin-off negotiations began to crystallize at Annapurna Interactive, Ellison offered Sanchez a position at Annapurna. The intent, per the spokesperson, was for Verset to become the company's indie arm, and for Sanchez to lead efforts in the AAA and AA gaming space, including transmedia properties. Which is how, months later, Annapurna announced it was partnering with Remedy Entertainment on film, TV, and other projects, including funding support for Control 2. The press release, which IGN received, referenced both Sanchez and Ellison, but it doesn't reference Annapurna Interactive at all. And IGN understands Annapurna employees were only informed the deal was happening that morning. Employees unaware of Ellison's plans or the status of the spinoff were confused, concerned, and frustrated about the direction of the company and the future of its interactive division, Verset or no Verset. And
This is the worst thing you can do to your... keeping them in the dark, having no idea what's coming next. It is horrible leadership. Horrible.
this is where it all essentially blows up, right? This is all where it melts down, and this is how we got to where we are today. Extremely bad leadership, extremely bad company formation. The entire thing is nonsense, and this is what happens when a leader decides to make a decision and then backtrack on it because everybody's mad at them. Ellison decided to fire 2 people that she deemed unnecessary, only to bring them back because the entire team was quitting in protest. And guess what ended up happening? She brought everybody back. She made all these false promises, and then once they had a final discussion with her, realized that she wasn't going to deliver on those false promises, and everything fucking blows up anyway, and everybody quits. She should have just dealt with it from the beginning when it first happened, but unfortunately she did not, and things just blew up from there. Then it says, while all this was going on, sources say that discussions with Ellison regarding the spinoff appeared to have stalled out, and in August, Annapurna officially terminated the discussion. Annapurna claims this was due to Gary's lack of response to requests for feedback on legal drafts, and in a statement sent to IGN after publication doubled down, any implication Annapurna was backtrack on the deal is false. We agreed to a high-level deal terms and signed a term sheet in early April, which makes it all the more surprising that we never got a response. Meanwhile, multiple people told IGN that in the final months, they began to see signs of Ellison exercising greater involvement over Annapurna Interactive's deals, projects, and budgets in a way that began to make them further uncomfortable with the direction of the company that was taking overall.
I'm gonna just say what I said last video on this topic. There has to have something happen that made them feel uncomfortable in the work environment, and this is what it was. Because again, people don't just get up and leave.
All this came to head at the end of August when all 25 Annapurna Interactive's employees, including Gary, Vela, and Masi and Mars, signed a joint resignation letter. Oh my God, bro.
Wow.
What an absolute clusterfuck. So this is the entire history, as written by IGN, obviously, about Annapurna Interactive. But it all does make sense. It's very clear that Ellison, when she came back, ruined the company. This company was doing incredible when Ellison wasn't around, and well, not incredible, but it was doing well when Ellison wasn't around, and that's because of the 2 guys' visions, right? The 2 guys' visions were carrying the company, and they realized that, hey, we need to kind of split this from the picture segment, otherwise things will get a little bit muddied, and that was not a bad decision. That should have happened, and it seemed like they wanted it to happen, but Ellison coming back and getting involved a little bit too much goes to show that these people, man, who just because you're an owner doesn't necessarily mean you know what's best for business, especially when you're born into money like Ellison is. I highly doubt she knew she was making any good business decision whatsoever.
Just an FYI, this is why company owners do have their own advisors. A lot of company owners have that, even if it's a small company. Because yes, a lot of company owners, just because they're owners, it absolutely does not mean that they know what they're supposed to do, they quite often don't know what they're supposed to spend money on. It's very rare that an owner knows all these factors.
Ultimately, Annapurna is still nuked, and it's going to remain that way. I don't think they're all going to come back for a third or fourth time, or however many times this is. I think the company is done completely, and now we at least have some answers as to why that is. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video.
So basically what she did was she set her whole company on fire. It could have actually went to greater heights, but she decided to drench it in gasoline and set it ablaze.